Okay, so first I'm going to ask you to give us a little background of yourself, and then we'll go
hmm
into the questions.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
should I just start?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Nina Mosley. I'm in college right now. I go to Montclair State University. I'm a junior. I'll be graduating next spring. Um, and I model. That's one of like my main careers right now. My modeling name is Nina Simone, and I'm 21 years old, and I live in New Jersey.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I know Nina because we went to high school together. And in high school, Nina was very involved in art, and she was really involved in when it came to Black History Month, you did a lot of art. You did spoken word, you did songs, you did art, you did a lot of stuff.
hmm
And every time I think of strong Black women in the industry, I think of you
hmm
because I know it's not anywhere near easy to be in the industry as it is, but to be in the industry as a person like you,
hmm
it's definitely not easy. So, um, and especially being in college too, it's
Yeah,
like
it's challenging.
I always look at your shoots and stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how does she do it? How does she do it? So we're gonna get into the first question. So
hmm
as a Black model, how do you navigate and challenge Eurocentric standards within the industry? So let me first go over Eurocentrism. So you know Eurocentrism. It's
hmm
basically like the ideal that um the standard beauty is European. So like light skin, light eyes, light hair, um,
hmm
you know, um basically you're European. So how do you navigate and challenge Eurocentric standards within the industry?
Um, when I first started out, it was a little difficult for me to kind of like find my footing in the industry because I was younger. I was like 18 when I started modeling. And I really didn't know like what I was in for because you see the TV shows like America's Next Top Model and models that post on their Instagram and make it look glamorous and amazing. And it's just not like that when you first start out. But I would say like I had my fair share of instances where I felt like I was just like a filler model, like
Mm-hmm.
the to meet the black quota in the campaign or the project. And I would just say like I navigated by believing that I worked hard to get here because at times it can feel like you're just meeting that quota that they have that
Right, right,
they need a black model on set or they need a black model in the campaign. And I feel like when you actually believe that you worked very hard to get here, and I do work very hard in my career, then there really isn't anything to navigate, especially when you believe in yourself. But it is hard, like, especially when you're first starting out. Even like I'm only 3 years in, and it's still like work to,
right,
make a name for myself and all
right.
of that. But I would say just believing that you deserve the opportunity that you were given and that people want to work with you because they want to work with you. It's based off of your talent and not so much what you are.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And I remember seeing so many of your shoots and just being like, wow, like there's nobody that can fill the role like you can.
Mhm.
And I think what you said about believing in that in yourself is more important than just going into a shoot and thinking, oh, I'm only here to fill a space. I'm only here to fill a hole. So I think that you have that mindset and that's very important for other Black models in the industry to have because I can only imagine how easy it is to feel like you're only there to help somebody meet some kind of look that they feel like they need to establish to achieve diversity, you know, um
hmm
especially in the industry where the Eurocentric standard is so believed in so strongly and
Yeah,
so prominent too.
I agree.
Okay, so how has that Eurocentric standard impacted your career as a Black model, if it has? and what steps have you taken to overcome? So I feel like you went into it a little bit answering the first
Mhm.
question,
Mhm.
but have you had any personal experiences where you've, overheard someone saying that, something about you, or, anyone that got a role or a part over you because
Not necessarily hearing it,
no?
but you just kind of like feel it when you don't get the confirmation or the callback. So it's kind of like at times, I would say like when I was way younger, at times I would think like I didn't get this because I'm not meeting the requirements of what they want in their campaign. Because it is like that in this industry sometimes, but you just have to realize that a no is just redirection, and you cannot get down on yourself because you didn't get said opportunity when days later you're getting confirmed for something bigger than what you really wanted.
Right,
And that literally always happens for me. And I thank God for allowing it and aligning it like that. But after like realizing and taking time to really just like, okay, like everything's fine, like that just wasn't for me, then it makes a world's difference because I don't have to stress about it the way I used to. I just kind of know, like, okay, this one wasn't for me, but in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, I'm going to confirm something bigger. And
right,
that's going to be for me because when you get requested by name, it just feels like, wow, like I worked for this, you know?
right, right,
So that's basically how I view that.
right. And your name specifically, I think, is such a strong name. And I think that obviously in high school, I remember people comparing you to Nina Simone, the singer. And I always
Hmm.
thought that that was such a great comparison because, you are so much more than a model, and you have so much more to offer,
Hmm.
and you always have. And that's just always something about you that I've always thought, like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen a person so full of so many talents.
Thank you.
And it would always, like, every time you would sing when we would go to church or when we would go wherever, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And I think it's so incredible to know you and to be able to interview you and to hear your thoughts and your words, especially um kind of in our time period where I feel like that Eurocentric standard is kind of being broken down,
Hmm.
mainly by models like you that are our age, that are really breaking through the surface and doing all these different kinds of shoots and really stepping outside of the box of what's
Hmm.
expected of you. Because a lot of your shoots have been really out there, and I've just been like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It's things that people our age and that you are doing that has never been done before. And that's,
Hmm.
I feel like that is really breaking down that Eurocentric model that has been so embedded, not even just in modeling and other things that you do. I know you love music, and
Hmm.
I know you mix and you do a bunch of that stuff, and just that European, that soft spoken, that everything soft has just been so normalized and so expected, especially with modeling, and you do runway too,
Hmm.
which I think is because I feel like most of the biggest runway models that we see fit that Eurocentric standard. We see Bella Hadid,
Hmm.
Kendall Jenner, they fit that Eurocentric mold. And I remember when you did your first runway, I remember all of us at home were like, oh wow, we were like, look at her. So I just think that it's just so important that people that look like you and that people that probably wouldn't look at themselves and say, oh, I could be a model, that they do, that they try it.
Hmm.
Because I remember, like, in high school, you never really did. You weren't modeling in high school. And
No.
we always said, oh my God, Nina, like she should. And but you were focused on art.
Yeah,
I remember you loved art.
I did.
And you still do. And I think it's so important to have creatives our age, especially in this generation, because we're gonna be the next leaders, the next
Hmm.
people that are gonna really break through all those terrible norms that have been set before us.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so next question. How do you think the industry can become more inclusive and diverse, moving away from the Eurocentric ideals?
Um, I think about this quite a lot, especially like now that I'm getting older and like more seasoned in my career. And I think it all comes down to giving like just giving chances to people who you think have the potential to do it because I feel like there's only like a handful of models that book the same campaigns over and over again, and they we don't really see anybody getting a chance, anybody like me or just like somebody who comes from like I don't want to say humble beginnings, but not like a nepotism baby,
Right,
like
right, right,
you're giving
right,
someone who's worked very hard, not to say that they didn't work hard, but they did have a leg up
right,
with
right,
being already connected in this industry, which is great. But like some of us don't have that, and we do
right,
have to work hard and put ourselves out there. And I feel like just by giving people chances to see what they can do, whether it be like a spread in a magazine or a campaign or a big runway show, you really just need one opportunity to launch your career so that you can be seen. Because
right,
it's really hard to be seen in this industry because it is oversaturated, but those who are meant to stand out and do more, they'll do it. They just need the
the chance.
opportunity to be put there and
Right.
then for everyone to see them. So I feel like giving people chances and seeing their potential and kind of like helping them hone in on it, I
Hmm.
think that would make a world's difference to me. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I think that that that's really all that, or that's probably the biggest thing that the industry can do is just give more people chances. Like I know your agency is say your agency. It's
Ricky Michaels management.
right, and I follow their page, and they do a lot of like free, not like freelance, but I always see like they walk around the city and they photograph all
Hmm.
different kinds of people, and I think that's something that not many industries do.
Yeah,
And I think that that's something that needs to be done more because there's so many different kinds of people, especially in the area that we live in the New York City and the tri-state area. There's so many kinds of different kinds of people that look so different but are so beautiful. And
yeah.
I always see like they'll do it's called like street casting, and
Hmm.
I follow your agency's page, and they'll go through, and I just see all these kind of people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that there were people that look like this.
Yeah,
And I think that that's something definitely that the industry can do. That's when you think about it too, it's such a small change, and
it is.
it can impact so many people's lives.
I agree.
So I love that you are with an agency that you feel matches how you feel, and kind of your beliefs and your morals.
Hmm.
I think that's rare too in the industry.
I agree. I'm definitely grateful to be placed with them.
Okay. How do you use your platform as a Black model to challenge and dismantle Eurocentric beauty standards?
Um, I would say I just really am myself on my platform. Like there's literally I should present myself. Like I just make sure to remain authentic in all areas of my life, especially on social media, because like I said, modeling is like a fantasy to a lot of people and they think it's like glamorous and amazing and it's like easy to do, but I make sure to post like the hard work and like
Right,
the not so glamorous parts because people are still interested in seeing it, but they're not used to the big named models posting stuff like that and kind of like speaking out because even with the genocide that's going on in Palestine, it's important for people to post and talk about it.
right,
And in this industry, unfortunately, it's very political and a lot of people don't support the Palestinians and therefore the Israels. And I just it's just important to speak out and like make sure you stand on what you're saying because how I see it, like in addition to people looking up to me, it wouldn't feel right for myself not to be myself to other
right,
people. And
right,
I feel like everyone's like pushed in this industry to be something they're not. And I don't think that's anything that will last. Like there's no longevity in it because it'll
right,
burn out quicker than you
right,
rise to the top. So I think that remaining authentic in this industry, um, coming on set, wearing whatever I want, playing the type of music I like on set, like just making sure that people know like, oh, this is Nina Simone, like this
right,
is how
right,
she is.
right.
Yeah, like
And
building a name
you,
for myself like that.
yeah, you do have you're all across social media. You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on X, you're
Mm-hmm.
you're everywhere. And I follow you obviously on all platforms, and you are constantly using your platform for good and to spread word to things that you believe in. And I think that that's really important because there's so many models that they only post service level things. They only post their biggest campaign. They only post what cover they made. You know, but you and I think that's rare, especially someone our age to try and put their opinion out there, especially with the career that you're in, that it's so easy for people to pull you down and to make you seem like something you're not. Oh, she said this, she said that. Oh, she did this shoot. Like, what is she? You know. And I think it's just awesome that you use your platforms and you post so much of who you are. Like I know on TikTok, I love watching your TikToks. You do your little mixing sessions, and I just think it's awesome that you give the people that follow you and that love you, that you give them so much of you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that does pair into the Eurocentricity part of it too, because the Eurocentric, especially with models, they're just supposed to look pretty. They're just supposed to sit and get your picture taken, get your makeup done, and that's it. But
Mm-hmm.
you make sure that to go so far beyond that, and you never forget where you came from either. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that's so important because in high school we were always encouraged to be ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
we were always encouraged going to an all girl school that was really extremely diverse. I mean, we did the international days, we
Mm-hmm.
did the Black History Month, and I believe the showcases that we would do at St. Benedict's, they lasted about a week.
Mm-hmm.
They would put the art up there all month. Sometimes they would leave it up there for the whole school year.
Mm-hmm.
And but we would go and we would see people's art. We would listen to people's spoken word. And I think that's so important that just starting from that foundation of high schools and even like middle schools, as little as that, it's so important that schools make sure that people that don't fit that Eurocentric belief or that standard, that they feel like they like they do fit, because it's so easy to look at somebody and be like, oh, you don't fit, like you're not model material. But I don't think that model material actually exists.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
I
agree.
think that, right. I think that it's a lot easier, especially where we grew up and where what we were encouraged. I think it's easier for us to break through that standard. But
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, not everybody was given the education that we were given.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
and how would you give a lot of props to your upbringing about how easy it is for you to be yourself, and because you're mixed, and
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm mixed as well. I know that it can be a little bit tricky to connect with different cultures, especially coming from two different ones. So can you
Mm-hmm.
speak a little bit about that and how it helped you, how it if it was an obstacle for you, if you ever felt any kind of way or
Mm-hmm. Um, I feel like just growing up, like as a kid, I don't think my upbringing had anything to do with this, but like just growing up as a kid and experiencing different types of people at school and
right,
doing
right,
my own research and reading books and stuff. I think a lot of who I am today was influenced by like my parents and my grandparents and what they've taught me along the way, but also what I decided to take part in, like music wise, the movies I watched, the TV shows I watched, the books I read. I feel like I went through a phase where I just wanted to know more about myself and kind of like what made me happy and what didn't.
right,
And I feel like doing that shaped who I was today more because when you're younger, you really don't know. You
right,
just don't know what you want yet. But
right,
as I started maturing and spending more time doing this research on myself and on the things I wanted to take part in as I got older, it just like, I don't know, it became clear to me that way. And in addition to my upbringing, you know, like I was influenced by my mom and my dad, and it would be things that they said, the music they played, the food we ate, like it, everything took into account to kind of create the person that I am today. So I feel like that would be the answer to your question.
And I love that. I because you and you always post your parents and you always give credit to your parents for the way that you are. And I think that
Mhm.
that is so incredible and so important that you just remember where you came from always, because it's so easy to slip into that, oh well, look at me now, you know, like look at me now. But you are the opposite of that, I would say. Even
Thank you.
even in high school, when everybody was telling you, oh, Nina, you should go, like you should be a mom, like go now. And
Mhm.
you were like, stop it. You were like, you know, so yeah, I love that answer. Okay. So how do you maintain a strong sense of self and cultural pride in an industry that often promotes that Eurocentric standard?
Um, I would say remembering that nobody else can do what I do because I'm me.
There you go.
That's basically it.
There you go.
I've learned I've learned in modeling that you really have to have a strong sense of self before you enter an industry like this because you're seeing so many different things and you can easily be influenced to change who you are when who you are is the key to where you want to go. And I feel like I want to say like when I turned 19, and I really started paying more attention to like what was making me who I am. Um, it kind of clicked. Like, I don't have to be anybody else but myself. Like, that's
Right,
how you book the
right,
jobs. You have
right.
to show your personality. That's what they're looking for. And if you can come off very, very fake quickly just by not being authentically yourself. And they can see through it, but they can also see when you are being your authentic self and you're really not holding back for anyone. And I did this a lot through the music that I played. Like on set, sometimes the music isn't great. And I'll ask the director, like, can I have the aux? Like literally I've asked that. And people have just been so like receptive to the music I've played. And that's been one of my ways of helping people to remember who I am because they'll be like, "Oh, you were the girl who was playing this." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." Because I love music and I always bring it, I always try to find a way to bring it to work with me. You know, like if I have the chance to change the music, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna play what I like to hear. So I feel like those things really helped me recognize that and, you know, remember like who I am because there's nobody like me, you know, and there's nobody like you either. Not to
Right,
just say that I'm saying that for myself, but you really just have to believe that you are one of one. You
right,
know, like, there's
right.
nobody else who can do what you do because you're the only person who could do it.
There you go.
That's it.
What are some of your favorite artists to listen to while you're on set or while you're just at home?
It really depends on the shoot. For home, I listen to every single thing that you could think of. Minnie Riperton, Stevie Wonder, Brainstorm, Tame Impala, Blood Orange. Everybody just has a influence on like what I'm doing right now. Like music is
Right,
a huge part of my life. So I think I have to, in order to maintain who this is, I need my music, you know?
right, right. How about on set?
On set, I literally have playlists for whatever the day is feeling like. If it's a very exciting set, I'm gonna play anything that excites me. It could be house music, it could be hardcore rap, it could be reggae, it could be reggaeton. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Like I put on the aux and then people are vibing and I'm like, I'm doing something right.
Right.
Doing,
Is anybody ever like surprised when you play any kind of music? Like, do they not expect
yes,
you to listen?
all the time. You're so young. How do you know this? And I just say my dad, my mom, my grandparents, because they've really influenced my taste in music.
Right.
And it's just like, sorry, that's just me.
I love that. I love that. Because I come from parents and my mom is white and my dad is Dominican. And
Hmm.
my mom, she listens to, you know, AC/DC, like the pop rock stuff from the 80s. And my dad doesn't really listen to music like that.
Hmm.
So when it came to really finding what kind of music that I liked, and me and you have a very similar taste. And I
Hmm.
think that it was it was important, at least for me, to go out on my own and to kind of just like explore different artists by myself because I wasn't getting that exposure at home. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody was telling me, oh my God, like Stevie Wonder, Lauryn Hill, nobody
Mm-hmm.
was really telling me about that. And
Yeah.
especially I think going to school where we went to school in Elizabeth and Newark and those different kinds of places, that it was really easy for me to be exposed to all those different kinds of cultures and art and music that I had no idea existed before. And like I don't even think I know who Nina Simone was until I met you, and I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And and it also comes so down to just being open
Mm-hmm.
to things that are different. And I think that Eurocentric standard that's being broken down, that's one of the things that makes the Eurocentrism what it is that nobody was ever open. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
if you look at, and you've probably done like studies about um like the first models, like the classic models, they all fit that Eurocentric standard.
Mm-hmm.
um and I just think it's awesome, and it's so brave of you to go and to just be such a force, trying to break down that Eurocentrism. I think that it's so amazing, especially coming from such a small place that where we come from, that you're putting it out there. You're putting um the name out there, and I know everybody from where we went to high school is always so proud of you.
Yeah.
We're always like, yeah, this is she's one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what you said about just going out, just putting yourself out there and just trying and just really just believing in that you're one of one and that no one can do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can think like that. And I think that it's so incredible that you say that, because um it's so important for the world to see different people. But the world's never going to see different people if those people don't put themselves out there.
Right.
So I think that that's definitely a strong statement what you said earlier. Okay. What advice would you give to other Black models who are facing Eurocentric beauty standards in their careers?
Um, to have tunnel vision and kind of like use the comments and the standards against their features that might be negative as fuel to like show people how beautiful they actually are. Um, I don't think it serves anyone anything if you're going to kind of like feed into that and kind of go back and forth with somebody who doesn't believe in your beauty. But the main thing is that you find yourself really beautiful and you're very self-aware and you know yourself well. And I feel like if you're entering a industry like this one, you really have to know those things. If you don't, it's going to be quite difficult
Right,
to break into the rooms that you want to break into.
right,
And just remembering who you are, remembering why you started, and what type of work it takes to get to where you want to go is super important as well, because I feel like when things seem like they're not going the way you want to, remembering all those things makes it kind of like your reason why you're doing what you're doing. And I would say just to like never give up and never um kind of like take the no's that you've gotten and dwell on them, because like I said before, a no is just redirection and something better is coming after that. And you just have to believe that that is what is going to happen. And that's what happened and why you didn't get the opportunity that you wanted to get.
right,
And to continue building confidence in yourself, at even if you want to start older, you still have to build your confidence up because the world is changing
mm-hmm,
and you just have to pivot with it, you
mm-hmm,
know? And I think that building a strong relationship with yourself, if you want to do something like I do, is very important because the industry can really mess people up in more of a mental way than physical,
mm-hmm,
um, especially now. But like I said, that strong relationship with yourself is probably the most important thing you need to be successful
Right,
in this industry because when you think, well, then that's what you are. That's it.
right, right,
So I think that would be my advice to anyone who's like me, who wants to get into this industry and be successful at it. You just got to
right,
keep trying and believing that one day you're just gonna pop and it's just gonna be like, whoa, gonna
right,
feel like it happened overnight, but there was so much work leading up to it
right,
that made it happen like that.
right.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the area that you're modeling in and the area that you grew up in makes it and that people that like are on your team and that people that call you for jobs, do you think that the area that we grow up that we're in right now, do you think that has something to do with the kind of people that they look for? Like, do you feel like it's more common for agencies here to look for people that look like you more than other areas?
I think that different areas call for different people because I haven't been to Paris yet, but they say that they're obsessed with girls who look like me
Hmm.
over there right now. And in New York, it's kind of like hot and cold. They have a girl that they look for every other season, and it
Right,
kind of stays for a couple months and then they change it out.
right,
But I think that in order to just stay afloat, you just have to prove that your work is very good. I don't think it comes down to what you look like sometimes because when your work outweighs that, they're gonna book you. They're gonna want you
right,
for this, they're gonna want
right,
you for that because you're just so good. It
right,
doesn't matter what you look like because the beauty is it's a given,
right,
like
right,
especially if you are beautiful inside and you have a great mind, it's a given. They're just now like recognizing that she can walk, she can pose, she can do this, and that.
right,
And I think that plays a really big part in that. But I feel like New York has a good mix of Black, white, Spanish, Asian, like a good mix of everybody because
right,
it is New York. It's like the melting pot for everybody
right,
to come
right,
and do something.
right,
So I think when you start going to like Europe and like overseas, I feel like that's when you really notice like the big changes because in some areas it's just like we loved Black models, like the dark skin and brown skin, and like some like the very lighter tone Black models, like
right,
it depends on where you're at.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question. I just want to know what was your favorite shoot that you've done? Like what's or campaign or anything
My favorite shoot.
when it came to
I
the
would say,
experience, the look.
mhm. I would say, hmm,
I feel like
that's a
there's
good
so many to
question.
choose from.
I would say, it wasn't really a shoot, but it was a job that I recently had, and it was a test for Swarovski. And I was a fill-in model for the very well-known model, Iman Hammam. And a lot of people say I favor her, and I was really excited because I didn't know whether or not she was going to come to set and you could actually like say hi and meet her. And she did wind up coming to set. So I didn't say hi because I was very tired from, the day's work, but
Right,
just seeing her and knowing that we were in the same room as each other and being on set with the actual models and just like knowing like I can be for the campaign one day. Like I
right,
don't have to be a filler model.
right, right,
That really like it kind of like put the battery in my back. Like, yeah, Nina, you're getting closer to it. You just have to keep on working
right,
because if
right,
you're asking you to do this and everybody is raving about how beautiful the look came out on you or how talented you are behind the camera and it's not even a real shoot, then like something good is coming from that opportunity. And for me, that was just one of like my most memorable shoots this year, I would say, because I saw her in the flesh and I'm like, wow, like she's just a person, but
right.
it's
Like it's
exciting to see like
achievable.
somebody
It's
exactly like
right.
there. So like I just have to keep working for it.
That's awesome. That's I didn't even know that you did that. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
nobody did.
Do you have anything else to say? Any finishing things or anything else that you wanted to add before we close?
Um, just thank you for recognizing me and wanting me to share some of my thoughts on the questions that you had
Of
because
course.
I always want to tell people like what it's really like in
Right.
my job and what I do for a living and how it's just not impossible. Like you can actually achieve it if
Right.
you are working and believing in yourself while doing that.
Right.
So, really just that. Just thank you for having me and thank you for your time.
Of course.
And I
Thank
hope
you for
that I
your
answered all your
time.
questions.
I'm
Well,
gonna I'm gonna put pictures from your shoots on if that'll be great. I'll plug you. We'll put your Instagram, your TikTok, everything.
thank you.
Your management too, because
Thank
I think
you.
that because they're a small agency out of New York, and I think that they're doing great things, and that more people need to know about them.
Thank
So
you.
I'm gonna thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.